Hi again and welcome back. I'm going to be recording my trading session today. Go through the New York session. It's the 23rd of July 2018 and I'll be recording everything, entries, exits, wins, losses and results at the end of the session. If you enjoy these videos, if you get anything from them, just underneath here somewhere you'll see subscribe. Please click on subscribe because it helps me get better numbers and it helps the videos get out there to more people, which makes it more worthwhile for me to do. And also there's a little bell there. If you want notifications as and when I post these videos, click on the little bell and you'll get a notification as and when new videos come out. Okay, I'll pause for now and I'll be back shortly to let you know whether I've taken any trades. Okay, back again. The first trade that I've taken today is on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and I took this as it broke through one of our entry points, taking this long, looking for further upside movements. Pulling back a little bit at the moment, but we saw some initial weakness on the Japanese yen that I was looking at when I took this trade. We're also seeing some strength on the US dollar. So this is like I say, and so this is the only trade that I'm in at the moment. I'll pause for now and come back if I take any more trades. Looking to enter some of these US dollar moves, so I'll come back if I get in on any of those. A quick update just to go through a couple of trades that I've taken that I've had to punch out. Small losses on both. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. I took this as it came through our entry criteria, and because of what happened with the price action, I punched out of the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen for -2 pips. And the second trade that I took was the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Again, this came through our entry criteria. And due to our rules, the way that price action went, I had to punch out of that for 2 pips. I'm down 4 pips at the moment. And just looking at what's going on across the board right now, looking for re-entries and looking for entries on some of these trades. Seeing slight strength in the US dollar and a little bit of weakness in the Japanese yen. But that could all change at any moment. So just going with the price action like we do and looking for trade entries. Okay, I'll pause again and I'll be back soon. Back with an update. I've taken 2 more trades. Seeing this US dollar strength continuing. So I've taken the Australian dollar, US dollar as it came through an entry point. Taken this short, looking for further downside movement. The other pair that I'm in is the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. We're seeing slight weakness on the Australian dollar. And so I took this at 22 again as it came through one of our entry points, looking for further downside movement. It's hovering around that 20 level at the moment, but I'm looking for this to continue down, possibly to 0.0, which would be my first target, but who knows, if we see some major moves going on, I may even push this a bit further. Okay then, I'll pause again and I shall be back very soon with an update. Back with another update. As you can see, I've taken trade on the euro US dollar as it come through one of our entry points. Took this at 0.8. Looking for further downside movement on this. Sold it looking for further downside movement. And I'm still in the Australian dollar US dollar. Saw that pulling back a bit on that last candle towards my entry, but it's come back down again now. Looking for that break of the 80 and further movement down towards this 50 level. The only other trade I'm still in is the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Seen it hold below this 20 level and the previous day's low. That was Friday's low. But looking for this to move down, come back, stay below this 20 level and come down to this 0.0. Okay, I'll pause again and I shall be back very soon if there's any changes. Back with an update, just running through the trades that I've got open at the moment. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trades open at the moment and running. The euro US dollar, got in on an entry point on this a little while back. Looking for further downside movement, although it's in the red at the moment, and looking for this to push back down through my entry, down through that 0.0 and possibly down to this 80 level, but we'll have to see if we get some more strength showing up on that US dollar that we were seeing just now. The pound US dollar, this trade I took as it came through one of our entry points, and I took a full stop on this, so I lost 10 pips. Re-entry is already in place, ready to see if that US dollar strength continues or if the pound weakness comes back in, and I'm looking for a re-entry on that. The Australian dollar, US dollar, still holding that from earlier on, a little bit of profit showing there. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, slightly in the red, but it's hanging on in now, looking for further downside movement. The last trade that I'm in is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, came through an entry point here. And I've taken this short, looking for further downside movement. And that's it. I'll pause again and I'll be back very soon with an update. Back again just to run through these trades that I've got open at the moment. Been a bit of a slow afternoon, but it's looking like we might see some price action kicking off right now. The Euro US dollar still in this. Price actually came through that 0.0, looking for it to push back through there, hold down and continue down towards this 80 level. The GU re-entered this at 0.0, looking for further downside movement on this, hoping for that US dollar to continue showing some strength that it was earlier on, and maybe the pound weakness that we've been seeing as well. So the GU took this short at 0.0. Australian dollar, US dollar, still holding on to that. One of the first trades that I took earlier on, that's come through that 80 and it seems to be holding there right now, but we never know if that holds there. I started putting in some take profits as well, getting them ready, mainly at 2 to 1. So just looking for those prices to come down as we're well into the London close now, getting closer to the London close. We usually see a little bit more price action around about this time, but we'll see what happens. So just holding on to that, looking for further downside movement, and I've got my take profit set at a 2 to 1 risk to reward. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, again still in this one, took this at 22 way back, looking for this to come down again. I've locked in 24 pips on that, 2 to 1 risk to reward on that one too. And the last trade is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Seeing that come down, it's been testing at the 80 level, trying to get through that, but being held off at the moment, looking for that to come through. And again, I've set my take profit at 20, which would give me a 2 to 1 risk to reward. Okay, I'll pause again and I shall be back soon if there's any changes to report. Back with an update. The markets are not really doing a great deal this afternoon, just going sideways. Suddenly see a slight move that looks promising and then it just pulls back and sits there going sideways. So I'll just run through these trades I've got running at the moment. The US dollar, Japanese yen that I was in on the last update, took a full stop on that, losing 10 pips. I've also taken 2 losses on the pound US dollar, 2 stops on that. They were 10 pips each, 30 pips. And then there was those earlier trades that I punched out of for 2 pips each. There was 2 of those. So at the moment I'm down 34 pips. I'm holding some trades that are showing a little bit of profit and a little bit of promise, but we never know. So I'll just quickly run through these trades that I've got open right now. You can see the Euro US dollar. Been sitting with that for some time now and it's just starting to push through that 0.0. If it holds there, there's a good, well, I won't say a good chance, there's more of a chance that it will continue down. Now it's broken that level, it's one of the key levels. Looking for this to come down towards this 80 area here, so we'll see how that goes. The Australian dollar, US dollar, you can see that's breaking that 80 level now, getting close to my take profit on that. I've got a 2 to 1 risk to reward on this, so 20 pips is my take profit on this. Let's see if it reaches down now. The Australian dollar, Japanese yen, still holding that. That's going the opposite way. We're seeing some Japanese yen weakness at the moment, pushing that back up, going the opposite way to the AU. The New Zealand dollar, US dollar, coming back down again. We're seeing that US dollar strength kicking in again now. Just hope that it continues. Again, set my take profit at 20 on this, giving me a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, I'll pause again. It's been a long, slow afternoon. I'll pause again now and I'll be back shortly to let you know what's going on or if I'm flat the market. Back again, really long session for me today. Such slow price action with hardly any follow through. I'll quickly run through these pairs that I'm in again just to show you what's happened. There's been a slight change. I'm only in 3 trades right now. So the Euro US dollar, still holding this, looking for further downside movement. My profit's down here towards the 80 level. So I'm looking for that to move down a little further there. The Australian dollar, US dollar, that's pulled through that 80 level and held there, come back through it, come back down again. Not really doing a great deal, but it's still below that 80 level right now. And I've locked in 2 pips on that, so I can't lose anything on the Australian dollar, US dollar. Australian dollar, Japanese yen, I punched out of this. I was seeing some Japanese yen weakness, which was pushing this up. The Australian dollar wasn't doing a great deal, and I could see that moving back, so I just punched out of it. We don't know. I mean, that could turn around now and shoot through the floor and We just don't know this, but I just wasn't comfortable with leaving that on, and I took it off for break even. So I didn't gain anything, didn't lose anything on that. And the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, can see this one here, started pushing through this 80 level, but not quite made it. It's been held off on that 80 level for quite some time. Now it's pulling back a little bit. So a little bit of profit showing on that, not a great deal, but just sit with these and see what they do. Okay, I shall pause again and I'll be back very soon. Okay, back to round up this session. I've got out a couple of candles back, as you can see, and one of those days really tiring. It wasn't difficult at all. It was so obvious. The entries were all there. The entries, the exits, the stop loss, the stops were there. Such an easy session really to trade technically, but mentally challenging. Just dragged on and didn't do anything, and was showing up a bit of promise, and then suddenly snatched it back again. Still, never mind, wasn't a big deal, and we have to expect these losing days because today was a losing day. So let's run through this. Euro US dollar, you can see where I got in here, and I punched out of this just as I was. Let's have a look. You can see where I got in just here, and I got out of this trade here as it hit my price stop. Watch this price come down here, and at this point I locked in 5 pips, and then price just returned, moved up and hit my price stop for plus 5 pips. So the Euro US dollar was 5 pips. Euro Japanese yen, there was no trades taken on this, just no criteria was hit at all on that. Pound US dollar, I had 2 trades on this, both losing trades. So the first trade was taken here. This was at 0.8. and I was stopped out there, took a full stop on that, 10 pips. Second trade was taken here. That was at 0.0 re-entry and stopped out there for another 10 pips. So it was 20 pips lost in all on the pound US dollar. Pound Japanese yen, no trades taken on that. There was no entry points hit on that at all. The Australian dollar US dollar, took this here. That was at 91, and I punched out of this just when I finished here, giving me 7 pips, plus 7 pips. Australian dollar Japanese yen, this was one you can see I took here, punched out here for break even on that. It looked like the Japanese yen had started to move up, and I punched out of that one, wasn't doing a great deal. US dollar Japanese yen, first trade I took here, and I took a full stop on that. You can see price pulled all the way back down here, knocking me out for minus 10 pips. Second trade I took on this was up here quite late in the session, and that pulled back, and I ended up punching out of that for 7 pips, lost 7 pips on that one on the second trade. So 17 pips in all lost on the US dollar Japanese yen. US dollar Canadian dollar, took this trade as it broke through our entry point there, and sticking with our rules, that pulled back and got to a point where I had to punch out of that. So US dollar Canadian dollar, I lost 2 pips on that trade there. Canadian dollar Japanese yen, similar story with this. Took the trade there as it came through the entry point and punched out there as it pulled back, and as I say, it gets to a point where we just punch out for small losses rather than sticking with it and taking a full stop on these trades. So Canadian dollar Japanese yen, that was minus 2 pips on that, another loss of 2 pips on that. And the New Zealand dollar US dollar, took the New Zealand dollar US dollar at 89 here. Price came down, it was moving down quite nicely, but then it pulled back, and I ended up getting out of this, punched out of this when I finished for the day for plus 3 pips. You can see these are my pips. I actually won 15 pips. I lost 41 pips, ending with a net of 26 pips. And that equates to minus 1.79% of my capital. Very small loss, 26 pips, just one trade tomorrow. One reasonable winning trade can win those back. And that's the way we do it. We just work with very tight stops, very small losses. And it's pretty easy to get our losses back. If you look back through the videos on here at my Twitter account, you can see the results that I'm getting on average. So that's where I'll leave it. I'll close down for today. Please remember, if you're enjoying these videos or getting anything from them, down the bottom here somewhere you should see a subscribe button. If you click on that subscribe, it just helps me out. It gets it out to more people as well. I think there's also a little bell there somewhere. If you click on that, it will give you notifications as and when I post new videos. If you'd like to follow what I do day-on-day trading. You can also follow me on Twitter, where I'm constantly posting live my entries, exits, wins and losses, and end-of-day results. And if you'd like to find out more about the way that we trade here at the Price Action Traders Institute, you can get more details from our website, which is what you're looking at right now, which is uktoasia.com. Okay, thanks very much for watching this video, and I shall be back soon with another one. Thank you.